All right, man. This video is going to be a little bit different. The MVP race this year, bro, it's been weird. Like, probably the weirdest of my entire life. Players dropping because they got injured, players going up because other players got injured. Like, it's been so back and forth. Typically, the MVP race consists of like 2 to 3 players that can actually win the award, like 2 to 3 players that can really win it. This year, it seems like it's doubled. In this video, I'm gonna be all these guys' lawyers, bro. Like, I'm gonna actually make the case for every legitimate candidate and why they should win MVP. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you guys who's my MVP and why. Chris Paul. I don't care what his numbers look like this year in comparisons to other players. I don't care. This man absolutely deserves to be in the MVP conversation. I've made this point multiple times, and the truth still remains the same. Every team this man goes to, it drastically improves, and it seems like he's always doing it being doubted. When he went to the Clippers, yeah, they were good, they were fun, but people always doubted whether they can get over that hump, like truly. When he went to Houston, immediately everybody questioned whether him and James Harden can coexist. When he went to OKC, people damn near thought that was a farewell tour. And then lastly in Phoenix, even me, I liked the move, but I was like, I wish he would have went to a championship contender, like truly. He made them a true championship contender. Practically with the exact same team that struggled last year. He has this team as the 2nd seed in the West, and statistically in every team stat category, they're up all across the board on offense and defense. Like I said, at 35, 36, his numbers aren't the sexiest in comparisons to the other players I'm gonna have on this list, but in the win category they are, and that's what matters, right? Stephen Curry, he's not going to get a lot of MVP votes this year, right? Like, we all know that. His team is 3 games below 500, and now that James Wiseman is gone for the year and that handicap-ass roster that doesn't really have any depth, they're definitely not making the playoffs, so that's not going to help his case. But if the key word in the acronym MVP, valuable, if that actually mattered, he definitely has a case. I just seen a stat last week. When Stephen Curry is on the court, the Warriors have a top 13 offense. It's not the greatest, it's not the sexiest, but with that roster, bro, that's pretty damn good. When he's not on the court, bro, they have the worst offense in the last 5 seasons. Look at the numbers and look at how drastically different they are with Steph Curry on the court versus when he's off the court. And like I said, this isn't the best team that has a bunch of ball handlers and shot creators and all that. So what does that mean? Everything runs through Stephen Curry, which means what? He faces the toughest, craziest coverages maybe ever. Also, this year, we say his MVP year was one of the craziest MVP seasons of all time and all that, but even without the talent and the crazy dynastic team built around him, his numbers are pretty comparable, so shouldn't he have a case? Damian Lillard, his case for MVP is very, very simple. On a team that barely made the playoffs last year and was below 500, he has this team 9 games over 500, damn near by himself. CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic, they've been gone damn near half the season, so it's pretty much been Dame and whoever's left. Yes, his numbers have been down from last year pretty much all across the board, but carrying that team to where they are right now and dominating the NBA in clutch stats and being first in almost every clutch stat and things like that, that's his case. Like, that's why he should be in the conversation. Giannis, unfortunately, he set the bar so high for himself and he's won back-to-back MVPs dominating the NBA. I can't even see him winning the MVP again unless his team is the first seed in the East. In the back-to-back seasons in which Giannis won the MVP, the Bucks were the #1 seed both times, and going into the playoffs, they were the predominant favorites both times, so that's the bar he set. This year, Milwaukee, they've battled injuries, they've been inconsistent at times, and that's drastically affected his MVP stock, but I will say this. In the 2 seasons in which he won MVP, these are his averages combined, right? Like in the 2 seasons, this is what he averaged combined. Now this is his averages this year. If he won MVP averaging that with the #1 seed, why can't he win it this year with these averages, basically the exact same thing as the 3rd seed? That's his best argument. Joel Embiid, as we all know, he had the best case for MVP before he got injured, and it was getting to a point where it wasn't even close anymore. In his last 10 games, right before he got injured, right, this man was damn near averaging 50, 50, 90 splits as a big, and his team was 9-1 in their last 10 games. It's no real need to bore you with stats and all that about how dominant he was, because his case was really easy and history backed his up. He was the best player in the league on the best team in his conference. Enough said. It's just that the thing that robbed him of Rookie of the Year is probably going to rob him of this MVP, missing 18 games. He still has a pretty compelling argument if they can finish with the #1 seed, but if they don't, that kind of takes away from it. James Harden, I don't care what he does. I don't care how much he balls out. He's probably not going to win MVP, and we all know why. This is a narrative-based, storyline-based award first. Like, that's what it's all about. James Harden, I mean, he left Houston in a pretty unprofessional manner, showing up out of shape, starting fights in camp, showing up late, things like that. So that's not going to really sit well with voters, and he formed the craziest team maybe of all time. So that's why he's not going to win. Despite all that, and I don't care about none of that, this man has a case. Like, he has a real case. This man went to a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and look at those three individually when they're on the court versus when they're off the court. This man made it his team. James Harden, at least this year, he clearly has the biggest impact on his team, and they're the best offense in the league since he's been there, and they're tied for #1 in the East. 7 out of the last 10 NBA MVPs and the last 3 MVPs, they've had the #1 seed in their conference. So if James Harden does that, dominating like he has, why can't he win? Not to mention, yes, this team is crazy on paper, but Kevin Durant hasn't played a lot in this season with James Harden, so it's not like he played a lot on a crazy super team. He's been doing it pretty much with the regular team. LeBron, he definitely has a case this year, but I never thought he had the best case, even at his peak, just because of his contemporaries. Nevertheless, like I said earlier, this is a narrative, storyline-based award first, and as far as that goes, he may be #1. Easily, and I mean easily, he's having the greatest 18th season of all time. He's fresh off a championship. He's fresh off a year where some people even thought he should have won an MVP last year, so that helps him out. He's coming off a year where his team just had the shortest turnaround fresh off a championship of all time, and his roster had major changes. So all this stuff combined, it helps his storyline. Like I said, even at his peak, just because of how Joel Embiid was playing early, Damian Lillard, I never thought he had the best case, but even with all that being said, he does have a good case. And lastly, and I saved this player for last because this is my MVP, Nikola Jokic. This man gets praised for a lot of stuff, and we all know that, right? But one thing I don't think this man gets enough credit for is how durable he is, especially at his size. Who is the player that we compare him to the most? Joel Embiid, we all know that. The 2 most dominant centers in today's NBA. You know the biggest difference between those 2 centers and why I pick Jokic all day, every day? It's the health, it's the availability. That stuff matters. In the last 3 seasons, and I'm not trying to pick on Joel Embiid because I love Joel Embiid too, this is just the facts. Joel Embiid has missed 58 games total. Do you know how many games Jokic has missed in that exact same time span? 2 games. 2 games, bruh. In Joel Embiid's career, he's missed 200 games plus. Jokic has only missed 20 games, and he hasn't missed 1 game in the last 2 seasons. This man is always there, and I think this year more than ever, that's drastically helped this case. Every other candidate, every single one on this list, they pretty much have some flaw on their resume this season, whether it's seeding too low, narrative isn't compelling enough, their numbers aren't good enough, something else, whatever. Everybody has something. He's the only one without really any blemishes on his resume this year. This year, Jokic has his team as the 4th seed in the West, and they can possibly climb up higher, so we never know that. This year, Jokic is leading damn near every advanced stat category there is. Damn near every single one, he's at the top of the list. This year, he has the most double-doubles. This year, he's damn near averaging a triple-double. This year, he's going to be the third player ever to average 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists, and he's doing it as a center. The only two before that was Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robertson. So he's the MVP. Like, he just has the best, most consistent argument. Obviously, you know, we do have some honorable mentions: Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard. You can throw some players on there, but I wanted to talk about players that really have a chance at truly bringing home that MVP. So this is just my list, and to me, Nikola Jokic, he's the MVP. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like the video. Follow my social media sites, man. Follow my Twitter, man. Follow my Twitter. We have 14K. I'm trying to grow it. Follow my Twitter. Follow my IG. Do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.